music is the essence of who Dougie Bryce really is. He always loved music. He had little 45-inch records that he listened to, little nursery rhyme songs, and it's been a part of his life all the way along. It has been a musical journey, for sure.
To celebrate his 60th birthday, Doug and his wife Catherine hosted a legacy concert on the meadow of their 10-acre property in Northern California. The concert set list covered a broad range of Doug's original material across the decades, and close to 100 people attended. It was mid-spring and the weather was turbulent and unpredictable, making for a tense bit of logistical gymnastics. The stage set up with all the electrical equipment, as well as the prospects for the Doug Rice Acoustic Ensemble getting a chance to rehearse together, were at risk. All the way up to the day of the concert, the weather prediction had been for rain. And so, Doug and Kath decided that the prudent thing would be to rent tents. It was in this context that the family gathered around the dinner table on the eve of the concert and presented Doug with a birthday gift, a hardbound book chronicling his life as a musician, from boy to Rainbow Land man. As Doug turned the pages of the book, the stories of his musical life just spilled forth. I remember thinking, I sure hope we're getting this on film. Luckily, Josh, Doug's stepson, who was videotaping the entire weekend as a birthday gift to Doug, caught a lot of the book sharing on tape. 4 years later, when I was looking at the footage that Josh had taken that weekend, I could see these threads of a documentary begging to be woven.
From the time I really have deep memories of Doug, there's been a guitar in front of him. And he's been writing music, and he's been breathing music, and sharing it.
A birthday is upon you. Another time around, gaze into reflections, yeah, for diamonds to be found. Release into your power, yeah. Yours is a heart of gold. The love that is your essence is the story being told.
I have 3 favorite musical memories. The first starts out when he was a young teenager and he had a garage band in our family home.
Wrath Creek was a band Doug was in during the early 70s. It featured Mark Bramman on bass guitar, Mark Kilmer on drums, and later Jeff Rice on keyboard. In this photo, they're performing at a Del Mar Junior High School dance. I was in school there at the time, and after all of the practices in our garage, it was really fun to see them playing for an audience. Following high school, Doug, Jeff, and Mark attended UC San Diego together and continued to play as Wrath Creek with a new drummer, Bill Bye.
A kingdom of paradise, a dream beyond our reach, an unknown destination that calls us without seas, the land at horizon's edge.
After 2 years at UCSD, Doug, Bill Bye, and Mark Bramman moved to Goleta. Doug finished his degree in music theory and composition at UC Santa Barbara, and the keyboardist Jay Yim joined the band. The group became known as Eidolon. Eventually, Bill Bye decided to move back to Hawaii, so the band brought in Santa Barbara local Phil Baruman on drums. A short time after that, Mark decided he would focus on sound engineering. At this point, the band changed its name from Eidolon to Open, adding Bill Burns on bass and me on backing vocals. During Doug's second year at UCSB, he was invited to join a 14-voice men's chamber chorus called the Schubertians, led by the incomparable Karl Zytowski. The chorus focused mainly on the songs of the 19th century Austrian composer Franz Schubert. After Doug graduated in June of 1979, the Schubertians went on tour through England. The live recording you're hearing was made in a church in Sandwich. That tour, with 18 concerts in little over 3 weeks, remains one of the greatest musical highlights of Doug's life.
Douglas Rice is going to accompany us on the first piece on the guitar, Die Nachtigall, the Nightingale.
I was the hippie, Zytowski begged Dan and I to cut our hair for that tour. And the day before we went on the tour, we both did. Yeah, for sure. Zytowski wanted me to do it. He's taking me to England. Of course I was going to do it. I just waited till the last minute. But I got it cut short. He was so happy.
Maybe once a year.
After the Schubertians tour, Doug produced his first bona fide solo album called Songs of Change. It became his demo, or as he puts it, a calling card, as he headed off to New York to make a go of the music industry.
It's so amazing the way the world unfolds. For every ending, there's a story left untold. Our thoughts are singing with wide dynamic range. Echo forever, sing the songs of change. I am a student when I'm asking where to go. I am a teacher, sharing what I know. I am a madman when the world feels too strange. I'm a musician and I sing the songs of change.
On July 10, 1980, Doug moved to Manhattan. He presented Songs of Change to Al Cook, the bassist in the band Elixir, who had put an ad in the Village Voice looking for a guitarist. After hearing the Songs of Change album, Al recommended Doug to the other band members. Elixir became the first of 4 bands Doug would play in during his New York years.
So here we are. This is the original lineup with Al Cook on the bass. George did costume changes. You see different pictures. He did smoke bombs, and we would come out. We did a show, and when you played clubs back in those days, if it was a good gig, you're going on at 2 a.m. and you're playing for a half hour. This is rave dancing. This is DJ. The people, all the songs of the time, they just want to go out and dance. And a lot of times a band comes on, it interrupts that, and if the band's good, they're throwing shit at them. So we went to this one big club. We get this big club in Jersey. It holds about 1,500 people. I don't remember. It's a big club over. No, Trax is in New York, and they were notorious for being pissed off at bands. They warned us when we go out on stage. You guys, you just these people may not be nice. So we go out. We did our 30-minute set. These people went ape shit.
Mad?
They liked
They
it.
were so into it. Oh my
Awesome.
God. No, they were following us backstage. We went out after we did our set. We put all the equipment. This is what we used to do. We'd play from 2 to 2:30. We'd put our equipment away. Then we'd go out and dance till 4:35 in the morning. This would often be on a weeknight, so I'd put on my tie going to work. So Elixir was going on. We made a single. We put out a single. We had a manager.
Who's your single? Northern Industrial or
Northern Industrial, on the backside was Hold That Line. This is another great little vignette moment in my life. I'm walking down the street in Manhattan, and there's a guy in front of me. He's got a boombox, and he's listening to a radio station. All of a sudden, Northern Industrial comes on. And he's walking down the street in New York. He's listening to the radio. Wow. Northern Industrial. I'm just following this guy wherever he went until the song ends. Wow, man! I'm on the radio. I'm just following this. But we're going all over. We did this one gig in Jersey, and then right after the gig, Al comes to us. He says, "Guys, I quit. I don't know." Al just decided he was done, and it was just such a shock.
Al Cook remains one of Doug's closest friends. The two have a unique music exchange that spans decades and miles. In 2010, Al came to Rainbow Land to visit and play bass on the re-recording of Behind the Wheel on the album Brilliance and Riding the Wind on Songster Friends. In 2014, Al returned to California to play in the Cooked Rice concert held at Rainbow Land.
They had actually, George and the manager had set up, because back in those days, MTV, was all the big thing. It was the thing. Everybody's making music videos. And so we had booked a video session, and Al had quit. So we still went in to do the filming. We went, and they hired a stand-in, because we were all lip-syncing. It's a lip-sync. That's what's so funny. That's why you got to see it. It's really funny. We're lip-syncing with it. We didn't rehearse that. We just faked it. And they hired this guy, who I never saw him before or again, to come in and just stand in on the bass. You watch what he's doing. I don't think he's even hitting the strings. And that was it. We did this film. We filmed 3 songs. I never heard another thing about it. The band ended up splitting up not that long after for a much longer story. But 30 years later, Connie, Al's wife, somehow stumbles onto this obscure website about local music out of Greenwich Village. And they had all these 80s clips. And they had all 3 of the Elixir clips there. All 3 of them. To Hold That Line is on the website, and it's great. And I had never seen it for 30 years, didn't even know it existed.
No one seems to smile.
turnstiles on their way to jobs. They ain't no rock and roll stars. Subway tokens, words are spoken. Look behind, I'm on the line. Stand on line, the police line, the dotted line. It's the bottom line. Hold that line, got to make it. Hold that line, got to take it. Hold that line, got to take it. Hold back the line.
Yeah, this was the cover of the single. This is George. That's
Oh, that's
Al.
George?
That's
Who's
Al.
this?
That's Frankie. Frankie's the drummer. Lori had her first kid when she was 14. But she, man, I went to her. She had a hard life. I went to her place in Queens, and her mom was there. She lived with her mom. She had these 2 kids. I did connect with her briefly much later. Yeah.
Oh my God.
This was the new bass player. Okay, yeah, Taxi Dancer. That was the band. Yeah, we split off. What happened was.
This was beautiful.
It's
so beautiful.
I'm gonna read. Did I miss any other lyrics? Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. This was a song when I was first getting together with Ingrid. This was the song that I wrote to her. But I wasn't sure about commitment. And I wasn't sure about,
That's like pertains to life too. Like,
I appreciate that.
He always makes it intimate and he makes it global.
right.
There it is.
You couldn't tell me to stay, no. I couldn't show you the way. 'Cause there is no guarantee, and we owe ourselves to be free. Yeah, you tell me.
My intention is to take the specific of my own experience and translate it into something that could have a broader connection. And what happened with Elixir is, Frankie actually had to have a surgery, and he wasn't going to be able to play for a little while. And George thought, well, we can't let that affect our momentum. We have to just find a replacement. And I said, oh, we're a band. We wait for Frank. This is a family. This is a band. And they said, no, this is what we're going to do. And I said, well, guess what? The rest of us quit. And Lori and Frankie and me and Tony, Al's replacement, we quit Elixir and started our own band, and we called it initially Future Tense. And it only lasted a couple of months. We did 1 single, and then Frankie decided, guess what, guys? My girlfriend wants me to get married and start opening an Italian restaurant, so I'm going to go do that. So he quit. So it's just me and Lori. But she was committed to me. She was great. She was a spiritual person in the context of really hard life. So, I loved that. So we found Charlie and we found Rick. Charlie was from New Jersey. Rick was a Texas backbeat drummer. Loved Rick. And we started Taxi Dancer. And Taxi Dancer was a good band. And for the first time, I was the front man. Elixir, I wasn't front. I was front man in that band. Rick and I did a duet, and we called it WK, and we did some really good music together, where he would do the drums, the bass, and the backing vocals, and I would do guitar, keyboards, and lead vocals, and I wrote the music, and then we would arrange it together, and we had some good songs.
I've come to be
After 4 different band experiences, Doug decided to give up the pursuit of the great impersonal pronoun, quote, making it, and turn his musical attention to another solo project called Sacred and Secular, which marks the beginnings of what Doug refers to as his spiritual spelunking. It was time to get married and start a new life in his old haunts in California. On October 12, 1985, he and his bride Ingrid moved to Marin County, where he became acquainted with the spiritual community of Ananda. Eventually, he and Ingrid decided to give up their corporate jobs and move to the Ananda Village in Nevada City, where they lived for several years.
Do you know this album, Songs for Divine Chord Consort? Wait, so the Songs for Divine
So now
Consort.
you're back in California.
Yeah, Songs for Divine Consort is definitely at Ananda. I'm at Ananda. This 1996. That's both of these are album. I'm going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow. 1996 was the year when Catherine and I came into the recognition that there was some big thing there, and what do we do with it?
Divine love across the water.
And in that place, I wrote and recorded 6 40-minute albums in 1 year.
96? 1996.
Yeah, and one of them was Songs for Divine Consort. And the whole album was songs about this place of connection that Catherine and I are in. But I'm writing it in a way to try, as the lyrics are suggesting, as an offering to the divine. This is the one album that I recorded that my father spoke to.
That your father what?
Spoke to. It's the only of my recordings. It's the only thing he ever gave me a direct feedback on. He told me that he listened to it and he really liked it. Except he came when we did the practice at the Del Mar gym for that show with the light show. And he came, he listened to it a little bit, and he told me later, he said, just focus on beginnings and endings. Have a good beginning and a strong ending. Actually, great counsel. I always remember. That's the only thing he ever said.
And for me, some scarlet ribbons for my head.
I did this album. When I first moved to Ananda, I sold all my music because Ananda had a real attitude around music.
Didn't like you to play outside of.
They only Swami's music or Yogananda's music. That was what they said, and it was considered ego to do your own music and a bad thing.
Can I tell you one thing here?
Yes.
I told Steve, when you told me that, I said, you do not understand this man, and someday he's just going to explode
That's what Steve
with
said.
his music. That's what I said to Steve.
Oh, you were right.
That's what I said to Steve.
I want to say it was one of the best things that ever happened to me as a musician, because what I did, I was a very sincere Ananda devotee. I got initiated in Kriya Yoga. I went to service every week. I was into it. I had a job in the church office. I meditated 2.5 hours every day. An hour in the morning, a half hour at noon, and an hour in the evening, every day. And when I got there and I realized that there was a different attitude about music, I took it seriously. I sold my equipment and I attuned myself to it. I actually studied Kriyananda's attitudes about music. And I learned something really important for me, in that a lot of his focus was on singing from the heart. And I don't know what he meant, but I took that seriously. And I discovered what it meant for me. And it became the heart of my lyric basis, which is the heart of my music. So it was worth it. know what's most important in your heart, position it, and then let everything else find its place around it. And that's what I got out of that music experience with Ananda. But after about 2 years, it wasn't gonna work for me to just not. So what do? Well, I know what I'll do. I'll take Kriyananda's book of affirmations. There's 52 affirmations, one for each week of the year. When you guys need a break, let me know.
Wheel of the wisp of desire.
I took these affirmations, I set 45 of those 52 affirmations to music, and it turned out to be 4 albums, 4 40-minute albums. I was working with the medium of 20-minute per side cassettes. So 20 minutes, and I would make each side one continuous piece, and it would integrate 10 or 11 affirmations. They're wonderful albums. So it's symphonic, it's fully orchestrated, but it's trying to be attuned to what's okay there. It's using that material. It's really kind of a funny Mark Bramman story.
Mark was the bass player in Wrath Creek and Eidolon, the bands from those early years. Doug and Mark remain good friends.
Because Mark was in Carmel then. And I would send him, when I'd finish an album, I'd send it to him. And it turned out that at some point Kriyananda was doing a tour and he was giving a talk in Monterey. And so Mark figured, well, Doug's living there, I'll go see what this guy's about. And he goes to hear Kriyananda talk. And afterwards, people are doing a book signing and they're in line. Mark brings one of my affirmation cassettes. Now, I would never tell Kriyananda I was doing something like this because I knew I was pushing the envelope. Mark doesn't want a book or sign it. He gets to Kriyananda's front of the line, he says, takes the cassette, puts it in front of him, he says, have you ever heard that? The funny thing is, he told me he did it later. I was yes. I was freaked out. Now I love that he did it.
Yeah.
Actually, the funny thing is,
Did he have him sign it?
no, Kriyananda said, no, I haven't heard it. And Mark said, you have it. One of the things that Ananda, I got in we had this quartet, because, I'd been in a barbershop quartet in college. And we were really good. In fact, we entered the talent show at, this was at UCSD.
Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime summertime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire, on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you'll lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me.
We were crazy wild. We learned these pieces, and what we would do is we'd crash parties, come in bathrobes, or we'd put on our white shirts backwards or our pants on backwards, and then we just bust into their parties, climb on their furniture, do a couple of barbershop numbers, and split.
We did really good barbershop. Perfect harmony.
Yeah. So
The Blue Moons Barbershop Quartet experience in college led to Doug's participating in a barbershop quartet at Ananda.
7 eyes in heaven, talking about the guru, Has anybody seen my guru, kind of thing, is it? And we worked up this whole repertoire of pieces, and we were really good. And so they started having us sing at the Expanding Light, which was a guest retreat, and the guests loved us. But we were a little bit outside the accepted realm, and the ministers started coming in and started being concerned. But this was the beginning of the process that was going to ultimately would have to leave.
Yeah, I had to listen to
I'm sorry, there is no box for you.
No idea.
Well, no, but it was a good thing. Because see, then when I left Ananda, what I did is I really focused on what the musical offering was there. I got the gift of it. And then when I reclaimed the full range of my expression, I had that too.
I don't think anybody says, oh, I know completely who I am. I think it's from bumping up against the edges, right? At least that would be my
Yes,
interpretation.
that's very well said. I think that's exactly right. director.
Oh, we're on the divine consort.
Yeah, I've already talked about it.
That'd be you, baby.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna sing a song from this album tomorrow.
Which one?
Friend Beloved. I went into my studio and over this two and a half day period, I was so in the zone. I took 6 poems from Yogananda's Whispers from Eternity, and this album just happened.
It's one of my most favorite Doug Rice albums.
Pouring rain. I love it. Look at it. Look at the rain.
Oh my God.
Oh shit. Okay.
A song untouched by the voice of any. There's a storm coming, there's a turmoil brewing. I feel the invitation to fearful chain reaction, but I've seen enough of spirit to trust where it is leading. So I breathe in the middle of it, breathe in the eye of the storm. We hold the vision and we batten down the hatches. We live in the conundrum, but we keep hearts center open, and we bow to everyone, and we give ourselves to no one, and we stand in the middle of it, stand in the eye of the storm.
I'll tell you a story on Drupala. When I left Ananda and I moved in with you guys, and we had that amazing year that really deepened our connection forever. That year of us, because we were all in an interesting place, and we were all coming into a new place for ourselves as individuals, and we were present for each other. And we really deepened. I love that year for that. It was a hard year. Yeah. But I'm commuting to Mountain View, an hour and a half each way, and one time I still had my astrological bangle on my arm, and it was something that was recommended in those days, and I had one on my arm. And one particular hard day, I got to Book Buyers where I was working, and my car broke down, and I slept on the floor behind the business counter at the store. And when I woke up, my bangle was gone, and I don't know how it was lost, and I don't know, but that was like the last straw for me.
It's gold, silver, and
Bronze.
and copper.
Copper, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
so-
not in
Yeah, Josh.
spiral.
Yeah, and it's just was something that was raised like a what do you call it, a weather vane. It's just to I don't know. I did it out of a spiritual loyalty. I never really dialed into the philosophy beyond that. Well, but it still was something I had on, and it was gone, and it was like a last straw. I was so completely I was broken. And Drupada was a guy highly respected, and he's a really outstanding Vedic astrologer. But he for some reason, he just took me on. He would come and check in on me at Book Buyers. He would take me out to lunch.
Wow.
He would just make, just give me just make sure I was okay. He just became my friend. He took me on. And when the bangle disappeared, and he saw how broken I was about it, he went back to the Ananda community. Now, I was down in that area, but I was not Ananda. I left. I was working in an Ananda business, but I was in my own place and I was broke and my hair was really long. I was on crutches because my knee had gone. And Drupada, when I lost the bangle, he went back to the community, he took up a collection, he went and bought me a new bangle.
See, now that's
$1,300.
Yeah, no, it's really true.
But see, he understood me too, because when he went to give it to me, just him and me, he said, Doug, I know you're going to have a hard time with this. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to give this to you, and people want you to have it. And if you won't take it, I'm taking it to the Golden Gate Bridge and I'm throwing it off. We did this for you. If you don't want it, we're going to throw it away. And so I received it. But that's the kind of friend he's been to me. He doesn't believe in predictive astrology. He uses it as a tool to look at what the weather might be, a vibrational weather forecast, and gives you ideas on how you might navigate it best. What would be the propensities? And he's really smart. I'm never interested in the language of astrology, but anything he says to me, I take. We went to Drupada and asked him when we should get married. He said 8 in the morning on January 9th. He did. He did. That's wow.
My friend beloved.
But he gave me 6 mantras, and that's what this album is.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
I didn't know that.
You knew that?
Yeah, no, it's for his planetary. When you have a certain experience in your astrological chart, like you wear gemstones that represent the planets to help support those planets, but you can do mantras to help strengthen those qualities in the planets.
Om Trayambakam Yajamae Sugandhim Mushtivardhanam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityor Mokshiham Amritata Om Trayambakam Yajamae Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityor Mokshiyam Amritata Om Trayambakam Yajamahe.
So if you recite those mantras, it basically helps strengthen your position.
There's one comment on my website on this album from a guy who's thanking me for getting my pronunciations right. What I did with this album is I made each mantra a full orchestration. Some of it's quite explosive. It really covers a great deal of musical territory. Part of what I love about what my legacy is in terms of albums is like there are individual pieces, but the albums themselves are a piece. They fit together as a whole, and you don't really understand the pieces if you haven't recognized the whole to which they contribute. I love that you picked Learning Curve.
Out here on my own, I can feel alone. The moment's got a lot of nerve. Waiting for the pitch, don't wanna swing and miss, but life could throw a learning curve.
Transforming the Archetypes. Funny where this album happened, Lenny Martin, who's a good friend of ours, she got really into Carolyn Mace, who has done some really beautiful spiritual kind of self-help kinds of books. And she did a project called Transforming the Archetypes and even had a whole workshop. Lenny Martin studied the workshop and was licensed to give it. She gave a workshop, we did it. This chart here, that was my chart from the workshop. And then I made a song for each one and made this an album. That's how
I love
that's
the
that's how
archetypes.
Transforming the Archetypes
I
happened.
love it.
And I actually
I like the
sent.
night.
Yeah, thank you. I took the album and I sent it to Carolyn Mace. I said, "You inspired me. I did this album. Just wanted you to know." Now I'm not a guy who I make 25 copies and don't sell them to anybody. And I said, I got a call back from a lawyer from Carolyn Mace. Wanted to know what I was up to, what my intentions were, all this shit. Here it is, I'm somebody who went to Carolyn, I wasn't asking for anything, I'm not doing anything. I'm giving her an example of how her work inspired me and triggered this creative process. This was really wonderful that I shared with my friends. He went back and reported that to Carolyn. Carolyn Mace realized, oh, we probably made a mistake. Send him a box of candy.
I'm a child in the light brigade, and I'm holding a banner ever high. I'm a light, be a light, I'm a child in the light brigade. I have always felt like a child. Life is both awesome and overwhelming, but either way, I feel small and innocent in the face of it. I reclaim the awe and mystery, celebrating life so innocently. I reclaim the faith inside me, knowing that the one is ever with me. Healing the wounded child, feeding the needy child.
You know, what I would say the answer to it is, I'm gonna sing it tomorrow in the song Life Knows.
Okay.
It's you live your life, but life, for me, the real mantra now is life always knows what it's doing.
Let the
Even
feelings-
if I don't. The feeling place is a communication with self.
Right.
You know, the feeling is where from in some place in me, from the inside out, I'm telling myself something, you know? Empty Space is a good choice.
Yeah.
It's
One of my favorites.
And a song that
Your rewrite is good.
thank you. There's been 3 different versions of it. Yeah.
When a veil is lifted, when I find a door, when a cloud is parted, I return once more. To a place where no one goes, to a place that's never shown, to renew what time erases in the empty spaces.
He has
I think Mr. Bear is sitting next to me in that picture.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. That's my
I think she's got it later in the book. What the real
Okay.
I love the sun.
You know, Do you know the one thing that's fun about Son of Banjo Man is that when I finished the album, I sent it to all Dad's friends.
Oh,
And some of them, a lot of them are gone now. But you know, I got emails from Sabre Drowan and Tony and Jane Ellis about it. There was a sense of really connecting with the Rapture. Good choice. I'm playing that tomorrow.
Then the rapture comes, and I am amazed. My eyes are open, my heart ablaze.
Ah, there we go.
Which one?
oh, Ring Knots.
Yep.
Another great song lyrically. Worth the read.
Which one's that?
Worth the read out.
Okay. You wonder how it's happening. You wonder why it's going this way. I can tell you why. When you're looking through that window, I can tell you why. When you're walking through that door, you ask me what I see. Your prayer is your vibration. You get exactly what you are asking for. When you're full of your resistance and the world is overwhelming you, take it back inside. You choose another window. Take it back inside. You can find a different door. You ask me what I see. Your prayer is your vibration. You get precisely what you're asking for. In the way I see, in the way I feel, in the view I choose, I become what's real.
Nice.
Take it back inside. You choose another window. Take it back inside. You can find a different door. You ask me what I see. Your prayer is your vibration.
Is that the keys to the Kingsley?
Yeah. This is another, just talking about the challenges of the time and the perspective to hold. Good choice.
It's another winter, it's another wave of the sun. Movement is uncertain, racing for an ending that has begun. Turning inside, finding the light. It's another season with an invitation to fear, sensing with foreboding, answering a smile with a tear of longing. Turning inside, finding the light, turning the eye of the mind.
Oh yeah, this is and this.
Actually, I think that's one of the better photos.
Yeah.
I love that emotion shot.
I do too. It is a County Fair Star People show.
Doug and Kath have been playing in the classic rock cover band Star People for over 15 years now. Along with Bill Wadsworth and Morningstar and Jerry Washevsky, the joy of playing great old tunes with dear friends never loses its stellar luster.
Is that why it's blurred? Because
Yeah,
he's
the-
in motion?
He's in motion.
When the lyrics for Spark,
Some of my favorites.
the reason I wrote them, it's interesting because I love the videos that Bruce Melner made, taking. There are 4 different of my pieces, and then he sent his photos to them, and they're on my website. There's one for the Louis Armstrong song. It's a wonderful. What's it?
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful World. Yeah. And there's a Shenandoah, and he put his pictures to them, and they're really nice. And I wanted him to do another, and so I thought I'm going to write a song that that's going for a certain kind of spiritual place, and I'm going to use all nature metaphors.
Do a Spark read, please.
Wind across the water, fire in your eyes, set upon a mountaintop, your gaze electrifies. The sky reflects the depth of you, cloud-covered mystery. The birds reveal your dancing heart with a whistling ecstasy. You spark. You show me who I am in the moments I receive. You spark as I become the face that I believe.
So cool.
the depth of you. Cloud-covered mystery. The birds reveal your dancing heart with a whistling ecstasy. You show me who I am in the moments I receive. You spark as I become the face that I believe. Your curving river dance seduces me awake. Your flow brings me to rest. A crystal mountain lake. The seasons arc in colors, a spectrum on display. The seasons arc in cycles, a lifetime spins and fades. You spark, I walk the path you show, through forests of expression. Decipher branching codes, a song of new direction. Oh, windows on the soul, transfix me with your gaze. A rainbow shaping moments, a light burst in the haze. You show me who I am in the moments I receive. You spark as I become the face that I believe.
So when I was putting in the words of the songs, so you can copy paste, but you run the risk that it changes the colorization on the page. So I ended up having to hand type all of these lyrics.
Wow.
So I was reading through and hand typing, and then I would have to select which excerpt because sometimes I would run the space.
I'm so happy you had to do this.
It was really cool. And I think one of the things that I really appreciated the most about the lyrics that you've written is that because I was doing the same thing Cass doing, I was actually saying them out loud as I was typing them, is that your words were very sincere. You could speak with your words could convey things with eloquence and a broad vocabulary, but they were with such precision.
Piercing.
Yes.
Piercing is a good word.
That's what was cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Heart to the right to the heart of the matter.
And back to your point about the end-to-end album or the end-to-end music experience. Each one really has a different message. You know, it's not as if there's a relationship and an arc to it. There's definitely a different chapter, a different perspective from each one.
Well, the thing about it for me is the whole inventory is journaling.
That's the part that really hit me. They were so interested about it. I sat back and I thought through where you were at each of these different points when you wrote these lyrics. I was thinking to myself, I mean, some of these lyrics are so profound and like, you guys are in the grind of your taxes and I'm just thinking to myself, what's triggering? I mean, these very different
grind is a trigger.
Yeah, well, literally is in the rapture. I mean, that's.
The reality too is that a lot of his music is speaking to what is moving him in that moment.
Totally.
It is a complete reflection.
Or confusing me.
But it's like you have this other consciousness going on outside of the day-to-day life that is developing and evolving through the years. That's what's so wild about it for me.
Very well. I so appreciate it. The first one on there, which is the combination of Lo How a Rose with Bette Midler's The Rose. Those two songs, and I put them together. And that the Lo How a Rose.
Hair blooming.
That's like one of the most beautiful medleys. And that barbershop quartet I was telling you about at Ananda, one of the things that we did, there was a Christian group that had this 4-part harmony. We loved some of this stuff. They did this version of Lo How the Rose with this rich harmony. It was amazing. And I sat with that cassette for hours and transcribed the 4 parts.
Oh, wow.
It's a trip to pick out each of the parts. I wrote it all out and then brought it into the group, and we learned how to sing it, and it was so beautiful. Another of my favorite moments, we went into the Crystal Hermitage Chapel.
Oh,
It was around Christmas. It's a small building and it's all stone, and there's no one else in there. And there's 2 weeks before Christmas, and we sang that transcription of that chant. And carol. Lo, how roses blooming, da 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 da. And I took that song and I medleyed it so it weaves in and out of the Bette Midler song. There is the road. So if you haven't heard it, I think it's just one of the most beautiful things I ever did. Oh, what a great picture.
Oh, wow.
That was from the Self to Self concert. But that's cool how you fit that all.
That is so cool to
There he is, that's Ivor right there.
I'm right, said that that's one of your favorite pictures.
But it's so much better here. Because it really is this horizontal. The rest of it is stuff that just makes it small. So it's hard to see. But you've got everything. I have to say, because at the end of this concert, that's where I sang the Tender Song to you for the first time. And it was great to sing it for your friends. And I love singing it for your friends and the opportunity. But when I thought about it later, it was more powerful for me to sing it to you with my friends.
Well,
Because my friends, they really got it at such a deep level. As Larry said, Doug, there was not a dry eye in the room.
This is a song I wrote for my mama a couple of years ago. I've been so excited to sing it for her with all of you here. Mama, you've lived a lot of life. You had your ups and downs. Your ups and downs. As a mama, yeah. When it comes to bumpy roads, you know you've been around. You've been around. You kept your head above water and your eyes upon the sky. Yeah. Now you're looking back on 80. Your life still gets you high. And gets you high. You're okay with rock and roll. You know I will be wild. You prefer the tender songs, 'cause they bring your heart to smile. Mama, she likes my gentle voice, and you know I like it too. I like it too. 'Cause mama, you love the tender songs. sing this one for you. This one's for you. Here's the best part. You're still here with me. I'm still here with you. After we both leave this world, that will still be true. It's true. Your life's a victory. Your life's a victory. And I love your life in me. That girl.
Wow, look at that. There's Jerry. You got it.
Jerry Powers was the first musician Doug connected with after arriving in New York. In those early days, the two of them played near Times Square with open guitar cases for small change. Jerry's gregarious nature and extensive repertoire gave Doug the courage to play in the wild city he was just getting to know. 4 years later, Doug invited Jerry to add backing vocals on the recording of Time of Your Life from the WK album in 1984. Jerry went on to become an established opera singer and is currently a music educator for children with special needs in Manhattan. In this photo, the two are jamming during Jerry's visit to California with his family, November of 2007.
Gosh, this is beautiful.
Oh,
This
wow,
is
at Dad's
great.
memorial.
I love this.
Thank you,
Wow, wow, that's awesome.
There's my 50th birthday.
Wow.
Me and Dylan.
Yes, yes.
Recently, he's had a couple of really good things happen for him. He's got an invitation to play in kind of like this big band, but really good players. And then he was having an opportunity as a teaching position at a significant music school.
Well, they said he was in 6 bands, or he was in 6
Well,
bands. That's right, yeah.
So they were anyway, but they were, and he wrote his mom and dad an email just last week saying, "Everything that I am is because of you." But this documentary filmmaker who actually has 3 Emmys for documentaries, and the film he made was shown on quite a few PBS stations. And he did a 7-minute clip here because Dylan was one of his focus, people in the movie, and so he had one. There's one clip where he's interviewing Dylan and he's talking about his relationship with me, and it's really sweet. And then there's another clip where we're in there working at my at the keyboard. We're recording one of his songs. It goes for 7 minutes. It's worth seeing.
He's a kid who's very thoughtful. He's bright and he's very sensitive. He's really taking a look at the whole world and assessing what he thinks about it.
Crowded line, she twists and turns, lying up before she burns.
It's a fulcrum time in a young life, and where you're kind of checking everything out. You're checking out what's really positive, and you're checking out what's angry and negative, and that's natural for a teenager. For me to have an opportunity to be an influence in his life now, to encourage him to see through the positive window. If you're going to start with a kind of an assumption to work on, why not that life is ultimately positive and benevolent, and look for those opportunities.
Yeah, how's it?
Just feel it now. What we did that was to get you on pitch, get you to relax up onto the pitch. Here we go.
Joy, undergoes what is sold, a taste of cold.
I mean, it's not at all like, you know, like a teacher or anything. It's, I mean, well, I mean, he is a teacher, but I mean, I don't think of him as a teacher. I think of him more as, you know, just a really good friend that's teaching me. A person I could connect to on a musical level that I couldn't really with anyone else. We both can see music on a different level than most people do. That's what is so great, you know, working with people that really just understand. We both understand each other on that in that way.
Yeah, just a light on the strum, but those ornamental notes bring out so that, yeah. Yes. I think it's wonderful to have professional aspirations. Whatever direction you go, make sure it's harmonious with the impulse that's coming from you. Don't give yourself away to make it.
Sounds good.
Words come out, kills her down, kills her down. A tender soul, but not forget. 1,000 dreams, the sun was set. There it goes, like before. You never know your love door.
Jam it. So, you know, our focus is not on, but will people be able to understand what we're doing here musically? Our focus is this what's turning me on?
But Dylan's done a significant walk. He's an interesting young man, and he actually came to my studio every Sunday for the better part of 3 years. But I was his elected for 3 years.
Well, so lucky to have you done.
But with this pool, this is Bear's favorite place. And he did the same thing every time we go down there. He would go down, he'd swim across right here, get to the other side right there, he'd shake himself off, he'd swim over here to this side, there's a little embankment, he'd go up, he'd start chewing on the grass. Every time. Right, Josh? Remember that? I bet you do. You know you do. We did some fun frisbee shit down there.
Oh, yeah, man.
Top
5, maybe top 2.
I love that you love that song.
Gazing at the sunset, another day gone by. Smiles of remembrance paint across the sky. A gratitude within me for all that comes my way. And I say, thank you for this day.
He took it at a blessing for Priya and Bimal when they got married. Priya was married. We knew her at Ananda. She was married to Cliff. He's the one who was part of our meditation group that passed away. I wrote the song "My Friend" for him. I'm going to sing it tomorrow.
My friend, when I look into your eyes again, I see light. My friend, I marvel at the road you've walked with your life. And in the beauty I see that you are, I am blessed, and all life is uplifted by your very presence. I honor with voice, I dance and rejoice in my heart. I thank you, friend.
Priya then later remarried Vimal. This was taken at a gathering we had to honor them. And they'll both be here tomorrow. And they live up in Portland, so it's kind of... Yeah, Priya's going to be here. She'll be so happy to see you. That's great. You got Bear and Muffin.
Aww.
And you got Don Henley again. Have you ever noticed that an angry man can only get so far until he reconciles the way he thinks things ought to be with the way things are? Here in this fragmented world, I still believe in learning how to give love and how to receive it. And I would not be among those who abuse this privilege. Sometimes you get the best light from a burning bridge. Same thing. Embracing the journey, knowing that life knows what it's doing. And when you do, then life can respond to that. Because life, your vibration is your prayer. And life is going to answer the prayer you put out. That all ties in beautifully. And you got the Rainbow Bridge right there.
Oh, nice.
I love that picture.
Nice, nice. That just says a lot right in that photo.
I just love that you have the end of present moment here. Present moment, what it reached for, I never had this happen before, but with that album, I actually saw a picture of the whole album. Before I'd done any of the music, I saw the whole thing. I saw the shape of it. Whatever this story is out there, if you're coming from the premise that starts as a hypothesis, life knows what it's doing, and then becomes a truth that you know from the inside out, then any way you look at it, it's a foolproof system. You know, and that's better than
It's your birthday.
That's exactly right.
Celebrate.
So
Go around and
you get the heart of my message.
No, that's awesome.
You can't give me a better message. Because I care more about the music than I do about myself. Music is the expression that I'm the conduit. And being the conduit to that music is the greatest gift of my life. So if somebody gets the music, and everybody here does, so anyway, thank you guys for just letting me run for hours. That was really fun.
The next day, the concert goes without a hitch. The weather cooperates, and Doug plays brilliantly. The Doug Rice Acoustic Ensemble with Richard and Kathy Rodrigue and Catherine and myself made for a memorable time. And then there was Julia's amazing cake.
This is the perfect ending.
What a life it has been. What a dream we've become. Looking back and I smile. And we're still not done. Not done. When the call comes in. And it's time to move on. Going back to the center where I've been all along. Life becoming love creating. Life becoming
has Doug's music impacted me? You bet.